We are here live at the Jacked Up Fantasy Football headquarters here in Jacksonville, Florida. Our first show, our season preview. It's Saturday night on the eve of the very first week of fantasy football season. I don't know about you, man, but I am jacked up. This first portion of the show is brought to you by Heineken Light
and Corona Light.
I'm Val Dragativi, the commissioner, also the owner of the Playmakers. I'm joined by the 2008 champion, Zach Franisevic, Archon Tigers.
Good to be here, Commish.
We're going to talk about each team here one by one, give our thoughts on their draft that we had last Labor Day, or last Monday. But before we do, it's third quarter of the Ohio State Buckeyes game. The Buckeyes are hanging in there with USC 10-10. We're shooting for an upset. Go Buckeyes. And just a quick shout out to Ryan Jennings. What's going on with your Seminoles? First on Monday, you guys lose at home to Miami. That was embarrassment.
Oh, man.
And what else can you do to top that? How about almost losing to our own Jacksonville State? Almost beat you guys. It came down to the last 30 seconds of the game. Embarrassing. I would not be wearing a Seminoles t-shirt or hat or anything else the rest of the season, because it doesn't matter what you do anymore, Ryan. Your team is in bad shape.
Ryan, I hope your fantasy team does a little better than your team you follow. Anyways,
let's move on to why we're here. It's the first of many shows that we're going to do this year, and we're going to start with the T-Mac attack. We're going to go in order of the draft board here. Anything that stands out on T-Mac's draft?
I think T-Mac had a strong draft. I talked to a couple insiders that I talked to during the week. They seem to believe that T-Mac should contend in the top three. I concur with that, although I do have a concern with him having so many Colt players on his team. You know, they say not to put all your eggs in one basket, but it is a strong team.
Reggie Wayne, Anthony Gonzalez, and Joseph Adai, 3 starters for the Colts, but it's a team that scores a lot of points with Peyton Manning. How can you go wrong with that? But from top to bottom, Hightower in the 13th round, great pick there, T-Mac, and T-Mac was the worst team in the league. I hate to point that out, T-Mac, but the worst team in the league the last 2 years. Last year, you got some bad luck picking LT as number 1 pick overall. He was injured. But this year, he did much better in the draft, and I think year 3, third time's a charm for you, buddy. I think you're going to make the playoffs, and I think you are the favorite to win that division.
I agree, and I also like Kurt Warner. I mean, he dropped down in most drafts, but if Kurt's healthy, I think that's a strong. He puts up a lot of points.
4th round.
You had him last year, didn't you?
Yeah. Fourth round. It's a great pick. We move on to the High Flyers. Michael, again, the second worst team last year. And we're obviously going in the draft order and by record, so we're going to finish with a champion here. But Michael, High Flyers. Not crazy about your draft, Michael.
He was on the phone a lot during the draft.
He did the same thing.
I wondered who was giving him his advice.
He did the same thing last year, and
if you're paying that guy, I mean,
he's giving you some bad advice.
Right.
I think you need to find yourself a new insider or agent or partner or whatever the hell he was.
I think Jay could do a better job.
Well,
I know you probably wouldn't agree with that.
I wouldn't go that far.
But
not impressed with the draft at all. I do not like the Chris Johnson pick. I don't like the Roy Williams pick for Dallas. Sean Marino could be a surprise if he's.
I think he took him too early, though.
Healthy, but I think he went too soon.
I like Donald Brown, though.
Steelers defense in the 6th round, a little too soon for a defense.
Yeah.
I think you could have picked him up in the 7th or 8th round. I think he panicked.
He's definitely got a lot of question marks, but I mean,
I like Donald Brown in the 8th round, but not much else. I do not like Cotchery.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I don't think he had the worst draft. I think we're going to get to that.
No, we're going to get to that in just a second. But I don't expect him to improve much on his record from last year. By the way, we didn't do a prediction for T-Mac other than saying that he's going to probably contend and win a division. But I'm going to go 8-6 with T-Mac, 9-5 in a very competitive.
Does he win that division at 9-6?
He either wins it or he gets a wild card spot.
Who does he contend with? Do you think?
We're going to talk about that, but I think Randy is definitely has a strong team in that division. I think it's going to be between Randy and T-Mac in that division. So
no love for Jake, huh?
No, and we'll get to Jake in just a second. With Michael, our predictions for Michael this year, I can't see him winning more than 4 games, maybe 5.
I think you're being a little rough on Mike. I think he's going to go at least 500. That's my prediction.
I can't see it with this
I
team.
mean, he's got Anquan Bowl. He's got a lot of playmakers. Michael Turner, Matt Schaub could be big. Let's not roll Mike out. Michael out. I don't know if he goes by Mike or Michael.
Michael.
But Michael, I'm going to be a little nicer to you. I think you're going to be 7-7, maybe 8-6. But T-Mac, I think, will be 10-4.
Wow,
That's my prediction.
That's very aggressive considering he was I think 2-12 last year.
He's got a good team.
Jim Cocoa Puffs. First, Jim, thank you for the hospitality and for hosting this year's draft. Thanks to you and to your wife Claudia.
I hope you got that dishwasher working.
Yeah, we hope you got the dishwasher taken care of. For those of you that left early, we stayed to try to help him with a new dishwasher and it didn't work. The company forgot one minor detail, which is the power cord. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers, loved the pick. Second round, absolutely love that pick. He was the fifth quarterback to go off the board. And I think he's going to have a better year this year than Phillip Rivers and Peyton Manning, statistic-wise. And again, we're talking fantasy football here. We're not talking if Green Bay is going to win more games than San Diego. Statistically, in fantasy football, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a top 3 quarterback.
I was looking at Jim's draft. Actually, I like it. I did not like Maurice Jones-Drew at number 3. I know a lot of publications had him top 3. I think that's way too high for him. I would have taken Drew Brees there, but I am biased because I did have Drew Brees, and I don't like Maurice Jones-Drew this year.
And being that Maurice Jones-Drew, or MJD as we call him up here in Jacksonville, and we tried to get him on the show, but he was too busy preparing for the game.
They're on the road. So.
They're in Indianapolis in the hotel at the Ritz, and he called me, and he apologized for not being able to get on the phone and talk to us, but he was happy to go number 3 in the draft. Aaron Rodgers, I love. Brandon Marshall, big question mark.
Steve Smith's tough.
Steve Smith's got that separated shoulder. Is he going to last the whole year? Willie Parker, don't like that pick at all. I think Pittsburgh has one of the worst running games this year.
Yeah, they did play Tennessee, though. I think you're judging them a little too early on that. And
but last year,
Hines had a nice game.
But last year they had a pretty bad
Although he
game.
did drop that big
Critical.
pass.
Derek Ward, it turns out that he's going to split carries with 2 guys. I don't like that pick either. Don't like Lee Evans. I think Buffalo's going to suck this year.
And you're a tough grader.
So, again, not a big year for Jim. I think, once again, the bottom tier team, somewhere about 4 to 5 wins.
I disagree. I think that division's up for grabs. I think it's a weak division. I think anyone could win it. I, of course, agree Randy's probably the favorite, along with
T-Max right there.
But I think anyone can come out of nowhere, depending on a few key performances. Anything could happen. We all know funnier things.
Absolutely.
I started out 4-0.
4-0, lost 6 in a row.
Never hear the end of it.
Yes, lost 6 in a row. We move on to Ryan Prime Timer. Matt Forte, I think he'll be fine. I think that's the right thing to do is pick him 4th. Calvin Johnson should have a big year. Matthew Stafford likes to, sling it down the field. Still question marks, so you're still playing for a pretty bad team. Ronnie Brown, way too soon in the 3rd round.
Is he a Miami Dolphin fan by chance?
I think he is, but I think he likes the Falcons too. He lived in Atlanta, but doesn't matter.
Let's look at who went.
He's a Seminoles fan, so that doesn't matter.
Who went after Ronnie Brown? We had snake around.
Jacobs was right after.
Yeah, we had
He had the choice of taking Jacobs, Westbrook, Barber, all those guys. In my opinion, are better running backs. So I think, maybe Dolphins fan, home cook. I don't see the Ronnie Brown pick. Don't like it. Don't like T.O. Again, Buffalo sucks. Jason Witten was a good pick as a tight end. Dwayne Bowe, horrible team, horrible offense. Reggie Bush is not going to be the starter. Pierre Thomas is going to be the starter.
Chris
Wells is nice. He could definitely have a good year.
But he's not the starter
exactly.
now, is he?
Well, he's not going to start, no, but he could by week 4 or 5. I think he could be the starter. So it could be a good pick. Matt Ryan, not a bad pick there. Donnie Avery, don't like it.
Terrible team.
I like terrible team. Again, you have a lot of players on really bad teams.
Not you're terrible. You're not the terrible team, but we're talking about Donnie Avery being on a terrible team.
But you got Dwayne Bowe, a terrible Chiefs. You got a Buffalo guy. You got a Detroit guy. I don't know. Just not crazy about this team. St. Louis, you got Donnie Avery. Some of the worst teams out there, my friend. Ahmad Bradshaw could be a sleeper.
Could be.
He could take some of Derek Ward's carries from last year.
But he's in our division, isn't
Ted Ginn. Why even draft Ted Ginn? He shouldn't even be on the board.
Ryan's in our division, correct?
Ryan is in our division. I actually play him week 1.
Ryan, I don't know if